and welcome to another guitar neck diagram video. Today's topic is going to be on memorizing the fretboard through the open strings that we already know, understanding the shape of the octave, and then a new landmark that I think seldom gets talked about, but outside of the open strings, there's rarely an occurrence that you just memorize a certain area of the guitar without with like kind of no good reason whatsoever. For instance, the open strings of the guitar are labeled because they're open. So a lot of times you're like, oh, this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth string. But a lot of times people seem to know what they are note-wise, even if they don't read any music. So what I'm proposing is that we understand a new landmark outside of the open strings to kind of help us figure out, a new area of the guitar and a way to kind of like map out the whole fretboard through through the open strings and then the new landmark. So in order to do that, let's first review our open strings by bringing them into the video here. We've got E, this being the low E string, A, D, G, B, E. And, a lot of times I'll hear Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, or eat a darn good breakfast every day. In any case, a lot of people seem to know what these open strings are. But outside of these open strings, there doesn't seem to be a lot of like other areas of the guitar where we have just a straight up memorization of it. So let's look at that from from a different perspective, where we're going to go ahead and bring in all the G notes over the guitar here. And the reason for the G notes, I'll explain. Here we have all the G notes over the guitar. I think G is kind of one of the easy ones to remember if you know like a couple of chords like the G chord, because this is a G note, that starts the G chord. That's a G note, same thing, we know that this is the open G string. Now from there, if you haven't done this before, building the octave pattern off of G, moving 2 strings over and 2 frets up, we have the octave. Similarly here, except you would say, well, that's 3 frets up, but that's because of the B string rule. Anything that is here is now here 1 fret up. That goes for any interval, any situation. And then here we see the same pattern like that we see right here and that we see right here without the B string rule. This is just a duplication of this. So this is the G note because this is A, 2 steps back would be G. So we, essentially we have one, for every 12 frets, we have 1 G per string. This is the 15th fret, which is 12 frets higher than here. This is the 10th fret G on the A string. This is the 5th fret G on the D string. There's the open G, duplicates at the 12th fret. This is the 8th fret G on the B string. And then this string, because it's the high E, it's going to be in the same place. So if we kind of just remember where G is, and then we know that this is open G. So for now, I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'm going to bring back in the open strings. So now we've got our open strings here. And so now comes this new landmark that I'm talking about. We all know Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, or eat a darn good breakfast every day, or whatever it is that you memorize, EAD, GBE. I tell students after a while, don't say Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, just EAD, GBE. Say them as they are. Don't use any kind of trick or device to remember them. Just know them in their absolute, after you've done it a few times that way. So this new landmark area that I'm talking about is going to happen off this G string here, or excuse me, off the G note on the E string, and then use these notes. Essentially the same notes that we have here plus the C. G, A, B, C, D, E. And one of the reasons for this is just because they're in a nice shapely order. They're on, you know, the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. We are typically indicated on guitars by the, you know, the fretboard inlay, the dot. A lot of guitars are different, and they have, you know, artistic designs in there. But there's quite frequently you see 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret. But so we're going the 3rd, 5th, and 7th. We got G, A, B on the E string. We've got C, D, E on the E string. Well, you know, we had done this this octave thing where we got 2 strings, 2 frets over. So this would be a G note. So we can take this now and put it here. If we know that that's a G, well, then we've also got, you know, G, A, B, C, D, E, right? Now, similarly, we've got a G on the 8th fret, and now we've got G, A, B, C, D, E, and we see right here, if something's at the 12th fret, it should duplicate what's at the open. And voila, there it is. Okay, so now we have to find this in, you know, a couple of other areas. You know, we got the open G string right here, but notice G, C, G, B. That's because of the tuning of the guitar. But we can, you know, we can take this here and this. Oops, I'm going to select these 5 and move it up here. I guess I'll have to do them independently. So we got G, A, B, and then C, D, E. This is staggered because of the B string. And if you don't know the B string rule, then that's something that needs to be understood because it affects every interval, every scale, every chord. And if you understand it and how, you know, if you can kind of see through it, then it's going to help your understanding of the fingerboard. So another thing, you know, now that we've created a lot of this, we could see after the G, A, B, C, the C is just a half step away from the B there. And so we can move this over here. And of course, we've already got this over here, the C, D, E. So we know whatever's on this string is over here. Similarly, the G, A, B over here can be duplicated right there as well. Now, of course, you know, whatever's at the open strings can come down and be on the 12th fret. And see, now we're virtually covering the entire fretboard. There are, you know, some areas that we haven't gotten, like, you know, the G note right here. But now that we have the A, we've got G, A, B, and we know our C is right here, C, D, E. And by the way, that octave pattern that we created for, you know, for G doesn't just apply to G. It applies to all notes. So, you know, any note here, B, 2 strings, 2 frets. So in this case here, this all started from understanding that we have kind of a new landmark, and that's the G, A, B, C, D, E, starting on the 3rd fret, duplicating at the octaves, octave points right here, and then filling in some of the other things along the way, like, you know, on the B string here, and kind of mapping out the fingerboard with those those 6 notes because we know the relationship. G, A, B are whole steps apart. C is right across, a perfect fourth from G, and then D and E are whole steps. So we've got this nice little box that duplicates at the other Gs, and because these notes with the addition of C are the same as the open string, it makes sense to learn where they are. And, you know, from there, if we know this is G, we know that's G flat or that's G sharp, and so on and so forth. So there's, you know, eventually we want to have an absolute knowledge of each and every note on the fingerboard, but while you're still learning it, it helps to have new landmarks in which you can start to build your knowledge in full from there. Hope this makes sense. Watch it again. Let me know what you think. Have a good day.